There was an interesting discussion yesterday at the Data Tech about whether AI is going to take away all the jobs or it's going to increase the jobs. Damien Riehl was talking about two scenarios. One scenario is where currently we have business corporations with tens of thousands of employees, and a lot of that, especially with the agentic AI coming in, we can automate a lot of that work, and the business structures are going to flatten, and then they become tiny, and then you're going to have just two-person businesses or one-person businesses running, doing massive things. So that's one scenario. And while some of that is going to happen, and while some of that is happening, a more likely scenario is a different thing is going to play out. And that is that because now we're able to automate a lot of these things, because we're able to use AI to do a lot of these things, the cost of doing a lot of these tasks is going to come down so much that we'd want to do so much more, because now we can do so much more, and we're going to deploy these automations and these AI agents to do all these things, but we'll always need the people to either provide the incremental value over and above the AI, or do the integration between the systems and between the AIs, just like we do today. I mean, we have hundreds and thousands of softwares running around. They do a lot of things, but we need the people to connect them because they don't always readily talk to each other, right? So we need the people in between. So that's probably going to be the more likely scenario. It's just that we're just going to do so much more work because now we have access to all these tools. Here's an example. Damien is a lawyer, so he's talking about his friend Darth Vaughan from Ford, who's an attorney, and he says that the regulation over the past 10, 20 years has massively increased, and he's got so much work that is just not done today because it's too expensive. And when we are able to deploy LLMs for these legal tasks, a lot of the costs for these things have come down so much that we're going to want to do all those things. And the people will still be necessary to do the additional things after the AI does its thing. And this type of thing occurs because of something called Jevons Paradox. And what it says is that when technology increases, the efficiency with which the resource is used is increased so much that the cost will come down. But because the cost comes down, people will want to use it that much more. So instead of less use, you're going to use it way more. It's the same thing with work at your jobs. Because the cost of doing things will come down so much, you'll just want to do so much more. Here's an example with coal burning factories. When technology increased and the efficiency of coal burning increased, the coal plants thought that, hey, people are going to use less coal now because it's more efficient, right? But in fact, because the cost came down, people actually used more coal because now it makes sense to use it in more places. So that's the paradox. And here's another example. When VisiCalc came out in 1980s, all the accountants freaked out because everything that they used to do in these ledgers, now VisiCalc and Excel, VisiCalc was the precursor to Excel, by the way. Because Excel can do all these things, they thought that, hey, all of our jobs are going to go away because the software is going to do everything that we are doing today. But then what instead happened is that previously the accountants were just doing one scenario essentially, and because now we have Excel and we can do a lot of these things easily, accountants now use these tools to do multiple scenario planning. They run hundreds of scenarios and do analysis on that. That's what the accountants do. The work is going to increase. The people are going to be able to do so much more with the new tools. And that's the more likely scenario. And it's the same thing, it's going to continue to happen in accounting and law. And these are just microcosms. These are just individual subfields, right? The same thing is going to happen in all the other fields. And productivity is going to increase so much because of these tools. And everybody is going to just do so much more. And we're going to accomplish so much more. But the jobs are not going anywhere. That's the more likely scenario. By the way, Damien Riehl, he's got a very famous TED Talk on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. This is where he creates all possible musical combinations and he copyrights all of them and he makes them all open source. It's a great TED Talk if you want to check that out.